But to be fair, and I'm gonna say it here into this camera, I feel private training is a little bit harder than club training.
Like, hey, I need to work on this. Like, can you help me fix that?
I just asked you 6 times and you told me no, but now you have a question.
Private training and team training. What's going on YouTube? It's Coach Alex.
Coach Aaron.
Coach Bianca.
And we are Chuco FC.
Really nice, relaxing, kind of had a good time to rest up. Not bad.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, not so much of, working.
Yeah, our Sunday was pretty busy.
Okay.
Sunday was pretty busy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And he wasn't that bad, right?
Speak for yourself, son. I'm like 3 different shades, bro. Yeah. Listen to this guy.
Well, glad you guys are doing well. Okay, so we're gonna get spicy with this podcast, especially with the topic that we're about to talk about today.
Nice.
Talk to.
All right, guys. So there's been a misconception with what Chuco FC is, especially because it has that last phrase, FC, Soccer Academy, and so we're gonna finally say and talk about it clearly of what Chuco FC is about. So today's topic of this podcast is going to be the difference between private training and team training. This podcast is going to get juicy because some teams might be like, "Whoa, I have a juicy stuff to say," right? Especially that we got. Mm-hmm. And from our past experiences, definitely I feel this podcast is going to be by far one of the best podcasts we'll record, even though we're at episode 3.
3rd time's the charm, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So first, let's start off. What is private training for you guys?
So private training is more, I guess how I like to say, is more working on the details. So basically focusing on the individual player themselves and seeing if they themselves can do their job, whatever it is, defense, forward, midfield, or even goalkeeper, if they could do it individually well, so that way they could put it together in a system. So individual training would be focusing, or private training would be focusing on the player individually, whereas the team training or the club training is focusing as a team as a whole, while focusing more on system, focusing more on tactics, possession, etc., stuff like that.
What about you, Bill?
Well, I was about to say individual training. Personal training, to me, it would mean just focusing on that player specifically and seeing, obviously, what Coach Aaron said, on their details and what they need to focus on, especially in the game, and also personal things or personal skills. And team training is more of working on other people as well and working on them together.
Yeah, right. Which I completely agree with you guys. I mean, private training at the end of the day is for the individual, and then team training is more for the whole work as a unit. Let's talk about the training styles, right, on private training. What makes private training different from team training?
So I think especially for private training, you can kind of relate to the player or kind of see specifically what's bugging them or what's making them not play the way they want to. I think something we all have to realize is not just in soccer, I feel like it's in all sports, but especially in soccer, you really have to find out what your job is and what you're trying to do, so that way the team itself can be successful around you and kind of build on it. So as the private training, we're kind of seeing, okay, is it a confidence issue? Is it a technical issue? Is it more specific, so that way our training can go into there? Does it get a little bit more intense? Yes, because it's just one-on-one. So the intensity is asked a little bit more, the pressure of it is a little bit more, but because we want to bring that good player out of you. Compared to team training, which I'm not saying is less intense, but there's a lot of moving pieces around that you're not focusing on the individual player. Now you're kind of seeing the big picture as a whole, which sometimes the details can kind of go out of the way because of dealing with a group of people.
No, I totally agree.
For individual training, I keep saying individual training. Personal training. I mean, yes, I feel like personal training is more high intensity for that player specifically, because you're demanding more for them to focus on, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this properly, you need to focus on this. But also, either if it's a mental game or also, a skills, technical-wise game. And as in team training, it's also as challenging because you never know, you get different ages from different groups. You get like a 13-year-old versus an 11-year-old. And it's also like gives you more games perspectives of, let's say like in a tournament, they're going to have you do another age group above you. So you could also, have more, a little bit experience in that.
Agreed. So that for sure is leading to the juicy part of the podcast. I remember there was a player that mentioned to us that their coach had said that we were taking, as trainers, too much credit to what we do, right? And to be fair, I mean, I get it. The coach is a club coach. He feels like he's overwhelmed with a bunch of players. But to be fair, and I'm going to say it here into this camera, I feel private training is a little bit harder than club training. More because it's 1 hour one-on-one. It's 1 hour having to have conversation with the player, one-on-one, keeping the intensity of the player, keeping them engaged. In a team scenario, you do have the flexibility that obviously you're with friends. I mean, we've been in teams before. You're talking to someone as you're doing the drill, messing around, or at least cracking a joke. But on a one-on-one scenario, especially when they're young, it's like you can't be shy, and obviously your communication skills need to be top level, right? And I feel that's where coaches and parents kind of, they don't do this over here, they don't do that over there in the team, but you guys do this over here, they don't do that in the team. And of course, because we are private training, right? Mm-hmm. And so the juicy part about that, right, is like, which credit to the guy, I mean, he has his clubs, no names mentioned, but at the same time, for us to not take the credit, that we're overtaking credit, that's what he kind of mentioned. It's like, you're taking the credit. If the club wins, you take the credit. Right. I feel that's pretty big, right? Compared to on our end, it's what that person did. That person had that. They had this trouble, we fixed it, and they helped the team win. Which, I mean, it goes hand in hand. I feel the success should be distributed 50-50, but it's completely up to the player, more the player than anybody else, to give that success. Hey, I did this because of Chuco FC, and I did this because of my club coach. I mean, players have the flexibility to learn from everyone.
Right, and I think what you're touching base on it's not necessarily that we want more credit than the club coach, because that's not necessarily what we're arguing about, but what we're saying is if the players come to us and they're trying to fix a specific problem that also becomes a big problem in the team, and if they come to us and we fix it directly, then that's when it's like how you're saying, the credit should go hand in hand, because the problem that the player had was specific to them, but it affected the team. So obviously sometimes, right, not taking credit away from anyone, but sometimes as a club coach with dealing with so many players, you can't fix that. Right. So you do need that private trainer to go for an hour, detail by detail, annoyingly enough, which to be fair, some players do get annoyed and get frustrated, but annoyingly enough that they hear it so many times in their head that when they're on the field, it's just now automatic, which that's kind of the whole point of training anyways. Whether it's private or club, you want to play the game so naturally that you're not really thinking about it as much, per se. Now it's just more, I'm just playing the game.
I mean, yes, it could go, like what he said, both ways. Like I personally think that every individual wants to get better, even if they want it so bad, especially playing in the game. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with private training, because if they want to fix that little detail, and obviously the club coach can't, focus on you a lot more because he has to focus on other things. So obviously, they're going to want to go find that trainer and be like, hey, I need to work on this. Like, can you help me fix that in the game? Or even if it's like a personal mind game, right? Like, they can help you with that sometimes, and not much of, club training. Because they're like, okay, I gotta help this, I gotta make this,
I feel the coach has too much in his hand to be focused on one individual, which, again, that's the role you're signing up for once you become a club coach.
Right. Or you're making the drills.
And that's a topic of its own. Going with now, I'm glad Bianca mentioned, because that's the next thing I wanted to mention. Drills, okay? We've had coaches come out here and literally tell us we're coaches, and they've told us we've tried your drills in our team training and it doesn't work. Or sometimes they'll say, you know what, really good drill, it works wonders. What are your guys' thoughts on the drills we do as private trainers, and it's different from club training?
Well, the bad, I guess, from what I'm saying, is because we have to change it to every individual. which not bad as in negative, but I guess bad for more. We had to do more work. As a club coach, you kind of find one big problem and then solve that big problem as a team. But again, because we're dealing with 11 individual players of the team, each one of them have a different problem. So if we see 5 kids, 5 of those kids could have different problems, which means you have to create 5 different drills for those 5 kids. Now, could they have the same kind of outlook, kind of formation? Yeah, but not all of them can be the same. So now you're having 2, 3, 4 different kind of motions, designs, whatever in your head, and still having to figure out the problem. Now, the good part is, I guess, more that, because we try to put it in a game-like scenario kind of training, and because it's one of them, then it's better for them to understand the concept that we're trying to get out of them.
Right.
Which, if it's, for example, like bad first touch, okay, well, now we can create a drill designed to where every time you touch the ball, that first touch has to be good. If it's not, then there's the error, the punishment, and then that's when it makes the player have to do it better.
Coach Aaron's, he's like a calculator to soccer drills. He has point A through Z.
I do. I am the one with like 10, 20 steps. Hey, but it works, all right?
There's details 1 and then A, B, C.
See, right? And then detail 2, A, B.
I'm everyone's favorite math teacher. We only have 5 problems. They have 6 parts each, but there's only 5 problems.
What about yours?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, mine are different from your guys' drills, obviously. But to me, it could be also good and bad, because, I mean, obviously, bad for us. Yes, there are players that, like, struggle. With me, it's one struggling with balance and the other struggling with strength. Mm-hmm. So obviously I had to make a different drill and make another drill for the other player, right? Or, like, if they're focusing on jumps and the other one's focusing on, like, let's say, a skill jump, right? So I had to focus on, making another drill and then make another drill for that player. But as in team trainings or group trainings with the clubs, obviously they had to make that one drill to, like you said, they had to all be doing that one drill. Because he can't just, or any coach can just be like, okay, we're going to focus on this drill, and this drill with a whole bunch of like 20 kids. And they're not going to know, each one specific, because obviously it's going to go one year at the other.
And even on 101s it happens, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Which is a struggle. Yeah,
it is a struggle.
But with us, though, we can be like, I'm watching you. But,
homie.
Clubs, they're just like, they see you, and then they look away, and they're like, make a mess up, and they're like, oh, he didn't see,
Yes, that I do agree. We do have a big eye on the players. In my opinion, like, individual drills always have to be focused on the player. It has to be focused on whatever they need. I'm the type of coach that has every detail drilled on a notebook, right? Old school fashion. As much as like other coaches could have it like on the brain right then and there, I have to have it on a notebook, right? And that's for every single player we train. I session plan as I'm walking, as I'm driving something. In terms for team training, as long as the coach creates a drill to work for one unit, right? I feel that's where coaches kind of, when they come to us and say, well, coach, your drill kind of didn't work on my session, and that's when we have to kind of explain, well, you got to realize we're private trainers. Like, we're specifically on one individual. Your drills need to be more broad, more open to your team's need. If your team is struggling on possession, focus it on possession. If it's struggling on defense, create the drill strictly for defense. And so that's where drills overall, I mean, it's a big library.
It depends on. To me, it depends on how they explain it. Because sometimes some coaches, like that I know, don't explain it very well. Like, they'll just say, like, one detail, and then they'll try to do it, and they're like, okay, do it. And then some kids are like, oh, like, I don't get it. Can you, explain it a little bit more? And then they can't explain it.
Right on the money. More in the sense of, because we asked them like 20 times for sure, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Are you sure? Did you get
any
it?
questions?
Are you sure? Do you have any questions? And as many times as we ask them, though, once they're in the drill, they have a question. So it's at first frustrating, because we're like, dude, I just asked you 6 times and you told me no, but now you have a question. But now it's just realizing, sorry, naturally that's just how kids are.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they're kids. That's how they roll. That's how they operate. Even the high schoolers, which I know they're not kids, they're young adults, but even the high schoolers sometimes, whether it's because they don't want to look bad, they don't want to look dumb, they don't ask the question. So as much as we're here to help, we're not mind readers either. So we have to help them, but yes, does it take bringing it out, or does it take a practice run sometimes? Yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know it. Sometimes you just got to give them a chance to mess it up a couple times.
Which we are big people on accepting mistakes. I mean, you learn by making mistakes, right?
So then can I ask this next question?
Ooh, got it.
What do you three truly believe in? Do you believe in the power of instant gratification or the power of trusting the process?
Ooh, we're going to answer that after promoting today's sponsor. Today's sponsor for today's episode is going to be Mariachi Paso Norte. Great music and great vibes.
You've heard them at the locals, you've heard them at the best Mexican restaurants, so call them up, let them know. That way they can play at your own casa. So, before we went to our sponsor, I asked the question, do you believe the power in instant gratification, or do you believe in the power of trusting the process?
I'll go with the ladies first.
I believe in trusting the process, in my opinion, because that's how me personally, I trusted my process of going from high school and then to semi-pro. That's my opinion.
For sure, trust the process. First, as a player, you have to go through the nitty-gritty stuff to be able to understand it, grow from it, and then succeed to it. As a coach, you for sure have to trust the process even more. It's like...
And patience.
And you have to do it now with patience. Players don't get things from day to night. They get frustrated for not getting it from day to night. And so the fact that parents, more importantly, need to understand that trusting the process is just as important as anything in the world. That is like the subject that will help you succeed. You need to trust it.
That's true. And back to good old OG La Angie, my mama. She used to say, all good things that are worth it don't come easy. So yes, I am also part of the trust the process mantra, but because, again, going back to that original quote from my mom, anything that was ever worth it would never came easy. And I don't think any true professional soccer player didn't get it easy. Maybe they were the ones that while everyone was, going to, school or whatever for 8 hours a day, these kids are the ones that were going to school for 4 hours and then had to go 50 miles traveling or whatever, right? We hear these crazy stories. So even the professionals in this game, like not even the old ones, like I'm talking about the ones that are right now, Van Dijk, Mo Salah, all those players, they struggled at some point. So they had to learn as well all their trials and tribulations to get to that point.
Absolutely. Now, actually, speaking about professional players, yesterday we were watching the CeeDee Lamb's documentary, right? I'm not a Cowboys fan, right? Coach Bianco over here. Yesterday too. Anyways, okay, now but
Just to rephrase, I only go for it because it's CeeDee Lamb, okay?
But overall, CeeDee Lamb's process, right, is his story of overcoming things. Like, he was a player that didn't have a father, right? He's never mentioned his father, ever. He had a role model, his uncle. His mom didn't know football. So still being able to push himself to make it to the NFL is pretty darn wild.
Or because, how he inspired himself was he saw his mom struggle, and they were basically almost like homeless because they lived in one bedroom apartment with 5 of his siblings and his mom, and literally air mattresses. So basically he used that process to be like, you know what, I want to help my mom when I get older. So that's what he did. He trusted the process of going from a sophomore in high school to continue, practicing harder, playing harder. And that's how he got offered to go to college at OU, at University of Oklahoma. And then from there, he went to draft in the NFL, and that's how he got chosen for the Dallas Cowboys.
You know who had it worse, though? Prescott. Prescott had it so much worse. Even though he can't throw. My guy can't throw.
Prescott.
Oh, Prescott. Yeah, I'm not a football guy. I'm not a American football. I watch football, right? Soccer, right? I was just watching the Cowboys game because that was the only thing on TV because the Premier League finished. So after soccer, but I feel he had it worse. His mom passed away through cancer, and then his brother committed suicide. And the fact that he's still pushing through to this day, I mean, as an athlete and as a person, that's something valuable, right? Having to trust the process. You go through all those things. All right, that's when you go up and look at the sky. I trust in you. What's going to be next for me?
Right. Nah, and even then, I mean, I felt like I learned a lot about myself in college, but because of the trials and the tribulations, because I knew that I wasn't the road that I imagined or I had envisioned when I was going to play college ball, that's what made me learn more about myself on how I was as a person, but also like as a player, because I think that's something we all forget, like just the audience, the people that are not playing their professional respective sport, right, football, soccer, etc. I think we forget that they're humans and that they're people, and that we just think about the business aspect, which again, I think sometimes that's the bad part. But that's the good news, as in what we try to teach the players. You have to love the game that much, that no matter what you go through in your personal life, no matter how many fans don't like you, no matter what team you're on, and maybe you don't have the best record.
Sometimes even your parents.
Okay, yeah, or the people you love, the people closest to you, your best friends, your brother, your sister, like the people you used to rely on young, maybe they didn't believe in you. And you know what? That was your spark of, all right, look, dude, I love you, but I'm going to prove you wrong, and whatever it is. But I think any player that's trying to reach their dreams and go to the next level needs that kind of love or passion or motivation, whatever word you want to put on it specifically, but you need that kind of drive, that energy that keeps you pushing. Because the ones that don't make it far are usually the ones that quit. Sorry, that's just the plain truth. Those are the ones that just kind of said, you know what, this is too much for me, this is too much pressure, I'm not loving it no more, I'm tired of the game, I've been burnt out, which is a very common phrase, and I think it's just that. You have to love the game more than your losses. You have to love the game more than your suffering. And then that's what's going to make you not only succeed, but also learn things about yourself, see how you can prevail and overcome it.
I think that was a good one. That's a good question. To finish off this podcast episode, do you guys think private training is a need now in more modern soccer?
I say yes, because of the players that come. So in the sense of the players that are coming to us are always wanting more of themselves. Whether it's, I want to make the 8th grade middle school team, I want to make the varsity team. I've never played ever, and I just want to make a club team. Because even then, that's a big commitment and a big accomplishment. For someone who's never played in a competitive sport per se and wants to be in that competitive aspect, that's a big jump from just playing for fun, recreational. So I think it's a need, because if you're trying to get somewhere specific and you have that vision, then you do need as much practice. And not just, okay, go to the park for 3 hours and see what you can do. No, you need like detailed practices, effective practices that are going to get you there. Now, this is my 10% of it's not a need. If you're literally playing just for fun, you just love the game, but you're not having any aspects of college or anything like up there, then no, you don't need private training. But the 90% of the players that walk into this academy are the ones that want to do the NCL or the NCRL, or sorry, but those big,
ECNL,
there you go.
those, yes.
Those are the players that say, I want to play college. Those are the players that say, I want to do semi-pro. Those are the players that say, hey, look, the Locals Academy is offering me, etc. So, okay, if you're going to be in those spots, then you need all the good training you need. So,
absolutely. What do you think?
Definite yes. Because if you want it, you want to grind more. And obviously, the more that you want to grind, you want to get better. Not just, obviously, like what he said, 3 hours a day, just, shooting a ball literally at the goal. Because that's not going to get you anywhere. You need literally that specific details to get better. Especially the cons of what you need to work on.
In my personal experience, if you are trying to get somewhere, right? You obviously need extra training. I have yet to hear, right, a professional player, college player that says, I only train with team and that's it. From pro level players, from college players, we keep hearing them, I do extra training either with someone or with another trainer, or on my own. Which, when they train on their own, a lot of them are using social media platforms, right? A lot of online trainers now popping up, a lot of people on social media showing up what you can do on your own. So at the end of the day, private training is a need if you want to go to the next level, especially if you're in middle school, high school, wanting to go to college. It's a must. I think that's what's gonna. Any coach that says you don't need extra training or private training, you never went to the next level. I will say that. If you're saying that, that means you never played at either the professional, college level.
Yeah,
So.
no, I agreed, because even me, my aspirations of college didn't come till high school. But I knew that just being in the high school team wasn't going to get me there. I had to do that club training. Now, did I have a lot of experience in club? Did I know a lot of clubs? No. But I knew that I had to do something extra. And I guess more backing up your point, you always need something extra, whether that's the high school or your school team and your club team, or your school team and a private training, or all three. If you're blessed to do all three, even better, honestly. School, club, and private.
Yeah.
Or like even, well, going back to the fact with CDM, like going from when he went to college and he said that he wanted to go to NFL draft, obviously he did that extra training to get to that NFL draft, to get those coaches to be like, okay, we want this guy in our team, you know.
Yeah, and so any player at the professional level has some type of private trainer, has some type of training. We've gone through trainers. Richard was a big trainer for me when I was playing, and so you had your teammate at St. Mary's.
That St. Mary's, there was a guy, shout out Mr. What was his name? Skeeter! But yeah, he nicely enough we would wake up at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, right before class, and we would train for an hour and a half. And this guy, I didn't pay him, to be fair, but because he was already on the team and he saw that I really wanted to make the team and he needed the extra training anyways, we decided to train back and forth. So just even that, like, you know, again, you just need extra training. There's no other way to say it. There's no other, like, you need extra training. Now, again, professional, you know, I'd recommend that one, right, instead of just training by yourself. But even then, if it's training by yourself, you need something extra.
Well, I trained with this guy. He was my coach. And then after that, I did my own drills. I started being creative to make my own drills, especially specifics, to get myself better, and I did.
Yeah.
Where are we all going?
Okay. Today's this or that question is, would you rather go to the depths of the ocean? I'm talking like deep, fool. I'm talking like 10,000 feet under.
Titanic deep?
Or would you rather go to the highest point, but obviously you're not outer space, so like the highest possible point going up? And then, right, hold on, there's a part 2 to this. So
Okay, I'm gonna go with space, just because I love Star Wars and I love Ultron.
it's not space, son. You're gonna be like, let's say this is the sphere, you're gonna be right here. So you're gonna see space, but you're not in space.
You're gonna see literally.
But okay, you wanna be up there.
Up there, yeah, no, I don't know how to swim, guys. I don't know how to swim.
You'll sink to the bottom.
I'll sink more deeper than the Titanic.
That's hard. I'm not gonna lie, that's hard. I'd say this guy.
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
I don't want no shark. I don't want no shark to bite me.
Shark? Well, you're gonna get...
I mean, she's not wrong. There's some species that have not been discovered, so...
You just see Godzilla just swimming around.
Or Titanic people from the dead. Just
Oh my god. See, you're asking for it.
So you guys both said sky, right?
Right.
Here's part 2. Ready? Does your answer change if the only way you can come down is if you're in the sky, you have to skydive? That's the only way you can come down. Or if you're at the ocean, the only way you can go up is swimming as fast as you can.
Wait,
So does the answer change?
Do we have parachutes?
Whoa, my God. You guys are those people, huh? Yes, you have a parachute and you're flying down, and then when you're in there, you have the little gas thing. So you're obviously not going to die of just, but you know.
I'd rather skydive.
You'd rather skydive?
Skydive, 100%.
Dude.
Yeah, I'd rather.
What would you choose?
Look like an asteroid coming down.
I'm letting you guys know right now. All right, there have been more accidents coming from the sky than there have been from the ocean. So I will stick to the ocean. I can swim, and I will gladly.
I can swim. I just want anything to like grab me and pull me back under into the ocean.
I don't know. The ocean is scary, man.
They act like oxygen's up there.
Well,
There ain't no oxygen anywhere.
In the ocean, it's H2O.
That's water.
how do you separate it?
Bruh, I literally told you you have an oxygen tank.
We gotta have.
So what do you mean there's no oxygen? I gave you an oxygen tank. This is why we do this or that.
No,
To see
no.
who's really gonna survive in this world.
That's another one for another. We were asking him how to survive in the jungle, and that was rough because I forgot what I said. What did I say?
You said
said-
shelter.
I would build shelter, and then you
I
say
said
get
food.
and then Coach Aaron comes out with like, you need water
No wait.
first.
Let him say it specifically to how you got mad.
Because you're gonna live in a nice house. You're gonna find food and you're not gonna have any water when that's 80% of your
But what
body.
if the food has some water? Some food have like fruits. Some fruits have like about 50% of water. Coconut. What about if you find coconut? You could get coconut
Oh, yeah?
water.
What are you gonna break it with?
Huh?
What are you gonna break it with?
A rock
Oh yeah?
or a stick.
You think so?
Yeah.
Get a coconut. Let's test it out. If you could break it with a stick.
Hit a coconut with another coconut.
Do you see what I'm
So he
doing?
called two coconuts.
Do you see what I'm doing?
All right, guys. If like and subscribe, we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well. Peace out.